So this is a clip by Connor. I've got no idea what the context for this is, but he's saying the anime community isn't what it used to be. I am in the anime community. I watch the animes. I make videos about the animes. I am a part of the anime community. So let's see what the old monkey has to say. I am so jealous of his monkey, by the way. I'd love to have a monkey like this, but Appa would tear him apart, unfortunately.
We should not be discussing whether 86 is the real enemy.
I still haven't seen 86. People tell me to watch it. I haven't seen it.
And my opinion is the real enemy or not. When we all know what the real enemy is. Yeah. You be subject. I don't know where that came from. Watching your fave animes back after a few years makes you wonder. I mean, look, we recorded a really fun Trashes episode where we did an anime episode, that should be out in 5 years. We talked about anime, and I think it was just a time that, like, obviously as I get older, I enjoy watching anime less, but I think 10 years ago, that feels crazy to fucking say, that I used to watch anime 10 years ago. 10 years ago, being in the anime community when it was a lot smaller was so fucking fun. And like watching anime, and there was also less.
This is one of the big things. I don't think it's about the community being smaller, it's about the output of the industry as a whole. And I think this is true for everything. Looking at geek culture as a whole, it always felt like a singular monolithic community where everyone knew everything. Breaking Bad was the show you watched. Game of Thrones was the show you watched. The Walking Dead was the show you watched. Lost was the show you watched. All of these things, when they came out, everyone was watching it. It's the same thing with anime. There were so few anime coming out that if you were a anime fan, you were just watching the anime, right? But when like Shonen Jump really popped off and we got like 100 different shonens coming out every single season, and then people discovered the forbidden art of isekai, and then the isekai genre popped off and all that, everyone in all spectrums of media, this exists in gaming, this exists in TV shows, this exists probably in movies, I don't know, I don't even watch movies, in anime and everything. People exist in their own little bubbles where the average quality of content is probably higher than it has ever been, but it doesn't feel like we truly appreciate these things when they come out, if that makes sense. I have been thinking about this a lot, because a show like, for example, Apple's Severance is coming out, and it doesn't feel like a lot of people are watching it, even though I know for a fact they are. But it's just not like there's so much stuff coming out that there isn't that one big show that everyone talks about. I feel like the last time we had something like this is probably Marvel's entire catalog, but I wasn't in that bubble. I never watched Marvel stuff. When the Avengers Infinity War and stuff like that was coming out, everyone around me was hyped, and I was just in my own little corner enjoying my stuff. You know? You don't like some key elements of its appeal, don't force yourself through it, but I tell you it's enjoyable. Oh, I think you're talking about something else, not to me. But yeah, I need to watch 86, assuming you're talking about 86. I was watching the anime when Marvel came out.
That's anime. So...
Oh, he literally just said there was less anime. So yeah.
Whenever you watched, like, there was like 4 weekly anime that everyone would watch.
Okay, I didn't pre-watch. Connor is just unfathomably based, and you know, great minds think alike.
Like 10 years ago. And I'm sorry to all the new gen that don't know this or weren't around to appreciate it.
I didn't pre-watch.
But like watching anime 10 years ago was so fun. Because basically, everyone was watching the same 4 shows, and then everyone would talk about the same 4 shows every...
But this is not an anime problem, and that's what I mean. With video games, it was the same thing. When World of Warcraft came out, there was no game like it. There was no MMO genre at all, basically. Like, if you were a MMO fan, you played WoW, period. You could say, I'm playing these different games, but you were just lying to yourself. Because everyone who was an MMO fan was playing World of Warcraft, you know? And then, like, more and more games came along, and then it started to break up a little bit. But this exists everywhere. Down with Koroto, let's start a riot. I didn't pre-watch.
When they came out.
I promise.
Back when being online was kind of fun. And now being online is stressful. And very inflammatory. But then it was really cool.
Is this an entertainment industry as a whole? Absolutely. Absolutely. Every single facet that could be... Like, basically, this is This is consumer segmentation, basically, right? We know that there is demand in all of these different industries, and we know that there are consumers whose exact demands have not been met, right? So they keep making more and more shows. On average, they become more different. Like, obviously, people will say every shonen is the same, but really not. Like, when shows come out, they do have these small differences that make them unique and connect with someone else, right? And so, basically, everyone exists in their own little bubble. Because, like, their exact needs have been just met. So we all sort of watch anime, but we all watch different things. I've thought about this a lot. I always ask myself, what is the next Breaking Bad? A show that everyone watches week to week, and we just all agree this is peak. Steel Oppa first, I'll deal with it. Jesus Christ.
Oh man, because you would just talk about it. I felt like people were a little bit more respectful, but then you don't always get that one guy that was like, the manga, here are the spoilers. I don't know why I had to do a voice for that. It was a really fun time to be an anime fan, like way back. It felt like all anime fans had an aligned interest of the anime that they watched, and people would obviously watch and catch up on the classics.
In video games, I think the last thing that was this is Among Us. I think Among Us was the last big cultural moment where it felt like everyone was playing Among Us. It was basically everywhere. Like, everyone you knew was in some way connected to Among Us. But even then, I don't think it was as big.
But nowadays, I feel like there's so much anime coming out. And we talk about this so much on Trash Taste, but like, somebody likes DBZ is not the same anime fan as somebody who's watching seasonal bocce free rent, and the same way that gaming is like that now. It's just because...
Oh my god, Connor is so unfathomably based. Look at how smart this man is. I wonder why he thinks this way. I wonder, oh my god, how did you come to this conclusion, Connor?
Become such a diverse and large group of fans that there is very little overlap between groups now. So it's really tough to like have that joy of being in that community, I feel like. And so now it's more so like you kind of just watch with your friends and you talk about it amongst your friend group.
And even then, even among my friend group, everyone is watching different stuff. Like, unironically. Even among my friend group, people have found the stuff they like, and like our interests have sort of diverged a little bit. Now, there is still like Invincible's coming out now, right? Like, I know a few people who are watching Invincible as well. So there are a few shows, but it's like not the same at all. It's like not Mondays. Mondays was like The Walking Dead and Game of Thrones day. Tuesday was something else. Wednesday was something else, and we just went down the list every single day, right? That's not really the case anymore.
Which is fun, but also kind of sad, because I don't know. You just feel like you have less reach, and you don't really meet new people, which was always really fun, I felt like, back in the day. It was really easy to make friends back then. Because also, anime fans, as we know, are great.
I wanted to return to that point. So basically, I didn't finish my thought. So this whole like splintering people and putting them into their own little bubbles, like big picture wise, I think it's really bad, because I think a lot of entertainment should be fundamentally a social experience, right? One of the things that made shows like Game of Thrones, or shows like The Walking Dead, or shows like Attack on Titan my favorite shows of all time, is because I talked about them. Every single time something new came out, we were talking about things, we were predicting things, we were speculating, it was great, right? But there are also shows that I just know, like, they are not for a mainstream audience, and when my, like, personal needs are met with, like a very niche series, I am kind of like, you know what? I love this. Like, this is good. Why would I ever want to go back? There's so many good series coming out. Why would I ever want to go back to the days when there were like 10 series coming out? But at the same time, I'm like, wait a minute. No one else is watching this. That's kind of sad. I just watched this peak fiction, and I want to talk about it. And there's no one else watching it. What do I do now? So it's kind of like a double-edged sword. It's the same thing with video games. A lot of people are saying, I think I even made a video about this, people are saying gaming is getting worse. What the hell are you yapping about? We are getting more excellent games than we have ever have. It's insane how many good games we're getting. It's the same thing with anime. It's just not the exact kind of anime you want. Great
socializers. Very well known for being strong socializers, but it was great because anime was an amazing gateway into allowing people who were not great socially into making friends.
Do I want to talk about this? No, I don't think I want to talk about this.
It's like it was a...
Oh no. I just got flashbacks. Oh no. Let's just say I met someone and we spent 5 hours talking about Death Note.
really fun way. Whereas now, it not so much, I feel like, but still...
I don't even know what their name was. I don't even know how it happened. We just started yapping about Death Note for some reason. And we spent hours yapping about Death Note.
Still a bit, but not as much, because it's a bit more normie now. And then if you are a little too hardcore...
We didn't play tennis afterwards,
oh god,
no.
that guy likes anime too much. It's like, bro, you watch Jujutsu Kaisen. What are you talking about? We all watch the same shit.
Connor basically just said exactly what I said, so I think he's unfathomably based. I think Connor is 100% right on the money, 100%. But like I said, I don't think this is an anime community thing, and I mean, he himself said it as well. I think this is just an entertainment issue across the board. And this is kind of a good thing, but it's also kind of a bad thing for all the reasons I mentioned. It's very good that we have all these series coming out and everyone can watch whatever they want. And we basically have series that you can watch like every other day. There's new stuff coming out. But there isn't that social pillar that sort of everyone can agree on is, this is the good thing that we will all watch and we will all talk about. This is peak fiction. It just doesn't really exist anymore. Like, I guess Attack on Titan was one, but now that's over. But even Attack on Titan, it feels like at a certain point, everyone was kind of just like, yeah, this is the thing we all watch. We're all gonna watch it eventually, but there wasn't really like this big hubbub about it. Arcane Season 1 was also like a small scale example of that, but Arcane, it started and ended way too quickly. It never built momentum. Arcane, I feel like it would have been a great example of that, but it never had momentum. Because series like, and I always let's go to my good friend Google Trends. My best friend Google Trends. If you look at something like Game of Thrones, it's always like the most obvious example, right? If you look at like 2010, year after year after year, it went higher and higher and higher. Well, obviously this is like 100%, so it's not as visible. But in terms of actual numbers, this was insane. It just kept growing year after year after year after year. Whereas something like Arcane, it hits that. Well, it's too soon to tell, but that's it. Like, GG's, it ends here. There's not gonna be like another peak after this. And if we do Squid Game, for example, Squid Game, it'll be very interesting to see what happens with Squid Game Season 3. Whether or not it's going to hit the same notes. I haven't seen Apothecary Diaries. I've been meaning to watch it forever, but I haven't seen it. I watched One Piece live action. My roommate was a manga reader for the first time. We talked for hours, and my bubble was exploded when he started yapping about gods and dragons, and I was like, Jesus, let me breathe. I just got here. That's One Piece for you. But yeah, like with a lot of these things, momentum is a big thing. And with limited series and with series that are like binge models, you're never gonna get that, right? Like, let's do something. Okay, I have a very interesting example here. Let's do Arcane, okay? And it came out in November 2021. So let's do November 2021. So this is American, right? So this is 11. And we're just gonna copy it. How many days does November have? 30? There we go. So these are the... Oh, this was... Hold up. We need to modify this because Arcane was coming out in 3 drops. Hold up. We're gonna give it 1 more month. So we're gonna go to December, right? And keep this graph in mind. Keep this graph in mind. What we're gonna do now is we're going to do Game of Thrones. And for the sake of argument, we're gonna take like season... Let's do this. So 2016, it came out in Google. Hold on, I have an idea where we're going with this. And we're gonna go until June 31st. All right? So, as you can see, because there were only 3 drops of this, obviously, despite people being very excited about the series, interest dropped off very quickly. But when you get many releases, it goes up, down, up, down, up, down for 2 whole months. then it peaks, and then next year it's back again to do the same thing as this did, but an even higher peak. And when you build that momentum, people will never forget about your series, and they'll also always talk about it. Whereas with binge releases, like, you're never really going to get that. Like, it's going to fizzle out, and people will really move on super quick. And like Squid Game is probably an even better example of this, because it was just like a single batch. This is why I always keep saying bring back weekly. Bring back weekly, goddammit. Oh, I looked up Netflix's Avatar. It's probably non-existent, right? Why is there a Google search for this in the year 2016? Let's zoom in. Zoom in and enhance. I mean, yeah, it's not surprising. There is no search term for the, because like I don't know how YouTube aggregates live action here against just One Piece, because One Piece there is no, it's just anime, manga, and that's it. And comparing it to is gonna get obliterated probably. It doesn't even work. It just broke. Not enough data to show. I think it's just because the search terms are not working. Oh, Avatar in 2020 was crazy. When it was put on Netflix, yeah, it was wild. I mean, to be fair, like the numbers live action pulled for the original animated series was also insane. Like I get the average person doesn't really think about it, but like my content saw the biggest spike it has probably ever seen in me doing YouTube because of Avatar live action. People watched the live action series, and then they just started watching Avatar videos. And I'm pretty sure it is still the single biggest spike I've ever had. Might be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure. Netflix be speedrunning show releases, while also speedrunning cancellations alongside it. I'm just waiting for the day when I finally get live action Attack on Titan. That's all I want. Give me live action Attack on Titan, and then I will die happy. You know how people say that the anime is Isayama's ultimate version? Well, we need to fix it again. We need to fix the Season 1 Berserking Titan. Because that obviously doesn't make any sense. We gotta get rid of it. Either we get rid of it, or in the final movies we have to give Eren blue eyes. It's one or the other. I remember you talking about it the same way Avatars did. Avatar content after the live action went crazy. It was absolutely wild how many people just started watching stuff. I assume it must have been the same thing with One Piece. I assume so, but I'm not sure. You didn't like the Rage mode, Eren versus Annie? I liked it. I liked it, but it doesn't make sense. What is it? We're talking about Attack on Titan here. How would you process feeling like the best days of anime are long behind us? Because it feels like... hold up. I felt like this for years, and I still can't process it. Not saying new anime sucks. New anime is just incompatible with my taste, and old anime makes me feel mournful. And by watching the old thing, I would like slowly depleting a finite resource of the joy of discovering. I wasn't ready for that turn at the end. I mean, I see what you're saying. I definitely see what you're saying. I'm sure there's more stuff for you to explore out there, and like, I don't know. I'm also still waiting for the next big thing. I've been waiting for the next show to truly suck me in. And I've talked about this before. I have a tier list of how I watch TV shows, right? So there are varying degrees of, do I watch this on 2x speed? Do I watch this on the main monitor? Stuff like that. I haven't found my next main monitor, zero distractions. I am locked in. I am watching 100% series since Attack on Titan. I haven't had anything like that, basically, where I'm actually just there, locked in. So I don't know. I don't know. It's, like I said, it's not just anime for me, it's TV in general. I hope there is like something like Breaking Bad coming just around the corner, or something like Attack on Titan or something like that for me. But I don't know. I don't know. Just keep searching for stuff, I guess. Like, you will always find small series that you've probably missed that are going to be great. That Berserk fight, Titan fueled the Lost in the Sauce fandom. I'll forever hold it against that wit mistake. I mean, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised, because like in a series that is as detail-centric as Attack on Titan, the Berserking Titan really just doesn't make sense. Simple as. My last show like that was Code Mid-Ass. Say what you want, but it had that sauce in it. Can't explain. Yeah, it wasn't for me. It wasn't for me at all. Berserk. Yeah, Berserk was basically that. It was. When I was reading Berserk, it was a series that actually stunlocked me a little bit. And by a little bit, I mean a lot of it. I would say Berserk is very close to that. I mean, Berserk stunlocked me so hard that something real bad happened IRL for me, and I still haven't got back to read it. Just because I associate Berserk with that thing in my brain. So... Wait, are we talking about the Berserking Titan, or are we talking about Berserk the manga? Because if we're talking about Berserk the manga, then yes. Berserk the manga is up there for me with stuff that I locked in for. But if we're talking about the Berserking Titan, then I have problems with it. I do think there are subgenres of a lot of series that just don't really get much content anymore. And I do think the sci-fi genre is kind of... We talked about this with the upcoming Vince Gilligan series. There is not a lot of new sci-fi coming out. Like, there really isn't.